When the bomb happened, and the weeks and months after it, I didn't care whether I lived or not. And now, 10 years on, I give to God thanks for bringing me safely, for helping me to cope with the loneliness through the years. The doctor arrived at the bedside to say that Mary was very badly hurt. She was bleeding internally. Her pelvis was broken, and she was very, very ill indeed. And Gordon said, "You're telling us she's dying." And the doctor said, "No, as long as there is life, there is hope, and we're fighting for her life." She's been given blood, and we learned later she'd been given 24 pints of blood, but she was losing as fast as they were giving the blood to her. We were then brought up to intensive care because she was being brought from theatre, and Julianne and Peter and myself were brought into the room, and I was shocked to see my daughter, my healthy daughter, wired up and lying. Her eyelids blinked when I spoke. I think she may have known my voice. But Sister said to me, "You know, her heart is just beating." And I spoke to her, and Sister whispered, "Her heart has stopped beating." She had passed on.
I understand why on the one hand she was telling me she was all right, on the other hand she was screaming. When I asked her for the 4th or 5th time, she said, "Daddy, I love you very much." Those were the last words she spoke. I shall never forget them.
You say that you bear no one any ill will. It must be very difficult for you not to feel bitter towards those who were responsible for leaving that bomb.
I haven't really had time to think of the wider implications. Certainly don't feel bitterness. People are surprised that I don't, but I don't. I prayed for them last night. Sincerely. And I hope I get the grace to continue to do so.
I received a phone call from Ingrid saying, "Granny, Peter's had an accident. He has collided with a lorry and he's not very well." And I just threw down the telephone. I screamed and I screamed. I ran upstairs along the corridor. I screamed. When I reached his home, I went in through the door, and the 2 little girls were lying roaring on a chair. And Ingrid, I turned to her and I said, "And what about Peter?" And she said, "He's gone." Pattern had repeated itself, and I just couldn't believe it. He left me peacefully. I felt his mission had been accomplished. I think he went into overdrive after Peter died. He had lost 2 children. He had worked as hard as he could for peace. He had seen the IRA. He had given of his time to young people and to peace and reconciliation. And I must say at this stage, I think God's timing is always best. And he, I think, thought he had enough.